Chapter 1. The Arrival. The old farmhouse stood like a sentinel at the end of a long, winding dirt road, its weathered facade a testament to decades of enduring the elements. The Jenkins family, Mark, Sarah, and their teenage daughter Emma, had finally made it to their new home, miles away from the bustling city they had left behind. They were eager for a fresh start, a life away from the constant noise and ceaseless movement. Here, they hoped to find peace. Mark parked their SUV in the gravel driveway, cutting the engine with a sigh of relief. He turned to his wife, Sarah, who was gazing at the house with a mix of apprehension and excitement. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" he said, squeezing her hand. Sarah nodded, her eyes scanning the two-story structure. "It has potential. We can make it our own." Emma, their 15-year-old daughter, climbed out of the car and stretched. "It's creepy," she muttered, but there was a hint of curiosity in her voice. Despite her words, she seemed intrigued by the idea of exploring the sprawling grounds that surrounded their new home. The real estate agent, a middle-aged woman named Diane, greeted them with a warm smile. "Welcome to your new home. I think you'll find it has a lot of character." She led them on a tour of the house, starting with the spacious living room, where a grand fireplace dominated one wall. The kitchen, though outdated, was large and filled with natural light. Upstairs, 3 bedrooms offered views of the expansive fields and dense forests that bordered the property. "It's quite a place," Mark said, as they finished the tour and stepped back outside. Diane nodded. The previous owners loved it here, but they had to move suddenly. Something about a job opportunity overseas. Mark and Sarah exchanged glances, noting the odd vagueness of the explanation, but not wanting to press the issue. It didn't matter why the last family had left. What mattered was that this was their chance to build a new life. "Thank you, Diane. We'll take it from here," Sarah said, shaking the agent's hand. As Diane drove away, the Jenkins family began the task of unloading their belongings. Mark wrestled with the larger items, while Sarah and Emma carried boxes inside, filling the house with the first hints of their presence. As the afternoon waned and the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the fields, a strange sense of isolation settled over the farm. The distant sounds of nature, the chirping of crickets, the rustling of leaves, seemed louder, more pronounced. After a simple dinner of sandwiches and chips, the family settled in the living room. Mark lit a fire in the old stone fireplace, the flickering flames casting a warm glow that made the room feel cozy, despite its unfamiliarity. "This is nice," Sarah said, leaning against Mark on the worn leather couch. "It already feels like home." Emma, sitting cross-legged on the floor, looked up from her phone. "It's okay, I guess, but it's so quiet out here. Too quiet." Mark chuckled. "You'll get used to it. It's a big change, but that's why we came here, remember? For peace and quiet." As night fell, the family settled into their new routine. Emma retreated to her room, still skeptical, but gradually warming to the idea of living in the country. Sarah and Mark stayed up a bit longer, enjoying the quiet and the crackling fire. Eventually, they too went to bed, the house settling into a deep silence that felt both comforting and unnerving. In the middle of the night, a sudden noise jolted Sarah awake. She lay still, listening intently. It was a distant sound, like something rustling through the dry leaves outside. She nudged Mark. "Did you hear that?" Mark, groggy with sleep, mumbled, "Probably just an animal. We're in the country now, remember?" Sarah nodded, but the unease lingered. She got up and walked to the window, peering out into the darkness. The moon cast an eerie glow over the fields, and for a moment, she thought she saw something move near the tree line. but it was gone as quickly as it appeared. She returned to bed, telling herself it was nothing, just the natural sounds of the countryside, unfamiliar to her city ears. But as she lay there, staring at the ceiling, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. Outside, in the darkness, unseen eyes watched the house, taking in every movement, every sound. The Jenkins family had arrived, but they were not the first inhabitants of this land, nor would they be the last.